When one reads the Bible chronologically, the history of Israel with the judges, the kings, and the people, sorrowfully our ancestors has always been an adulterous nation before the Creator. The Creator had always sent prophets to get Israel back to his Torah, and those who obeyed the warning of the prophets, blessings came, and those who did not obey the warning of the prophet would prophesy curses that will come. Most of the time when the prophet says the curses, the people will have him killed, when in reality, the prophet was just repeating the curses already written in the Creator's Torah. Malachi is the last prophet until Yohanan ben Zechariah, John the Baptist, and Yohanan ushered in the prophet to come. This is the longest Israel has ever gone without a prophet. Even through the time of Maccabees, we read accounts of Israel waiting for a prophet.
1 Maccabees, chapter 4. So they tore down the altar, and stored the stones in a convenient place on the temple hill, until a prophet should come to tell what to do with them. 1 Maccabees, chapter 9. Bacchides chose the godless and put them in charge of the country. They made inquiry and searched for the friends of Judas, and brought them to Bacchides, who took vengeance on them and made sport of them. So there was great distress in Israel, such as had not been seen since the time that prophets ceased to appear among them. 1 Maccabees chapter 14. The Jews and their priests have resolved that Simon should be their leader and high priest forever, until a trustworthy prophet should arise, and that he should be governor over them, and that he should take charge of the sanctuary, and appoint officials over its tasks.
There's an ancient scroll called the Chronicles of the Pharisees. This scroll is a continuation of the Chronicles of the Kings of Israel, but this scroll contains a synopsis of the reigns of the Pharisees. This scroll has been a rabbinic secret since the Mishna was written, and they will not even let other rabbis read this scroll. A rumor said a wealthy man had offered up to $10 million for the scroll, and was still denied. So when I was in Israel during Sukkot, I tried to get a copy of the scroll. Worst thing could happen, they could tell me no. I walked in and asked the rabbi, may I have a copy of the English Chronicles of the Pharisees? They looked at me and they started to laugh.
What a silly Negro. What a silly Negro.
I was in and out within 2 minutes, but what really had me puzzled was the rabbis was black. The Pharisees, the Pashim, the separated ones, a Jewish section found in the 2nd century BCE. They reigned 230 years. They did what was evil in the sight of Jah. They had abandoned the Creator, the God of their ancestors, and led all Israel to sin. For it wasn't evil enough for them to follow the sins of King Ahaz, Rehoboam, and King Manasseh of Judah, but exactly doing the sins of Jeroboam. Just like the elders advised Jeroboam to build 2 calves, they're continuing to follow the sins of their elderly ancestors. This time they've harlot 2 old golden blood-clad calves, the Mishna, the Talmud, the oral law thing. Then they exclaim, Shema, O Israel, these are the gods that brought you out of the land of Egypt. They have provoked the anger of Jah, the Elohim of Israel, with their worthless doctrine. The Creator sent the prophets of Moses for them to obey, but they had them killed for blasphemy. So the Creator handed Israel unto their enemies, as told in his Torah. And the temple was destroyed like the prophet said. And the Lord vomited Israel out of the land. But the Creator did not destroy all Israel, because of his covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He will give this land to their descendants as an inheritance. And he had promised his servant David that his descendants will continue to rule, shine like a lamp to the world forever. The Pashim thing ended 30 AD after convicting Yeshua for blasphemy that morning. Later that day at Yeshua's crucifixion, the earthquake destroyed the chamber of hewn stone. Then the Sanhedrin ceased to judge capital crimes and met at the marketplace, written in the Talmud Shabbat 15a, because they were found guilty by Rome for paying a false witness in the capital case. The rest of the events in the Pashim them and how they led the Creator people to sin with their worthless doctrines and why they had Yeshua killed are written in the uncircumcised book 10, the blood-clad Mishna and Talmud. With no king and no prophet, the Pharisees took it upon themselves to get Israel back on track. They deceived Israel by saying they're upholding under Moses' authority, and in the book of the chapter of the fathers it is said, Moses received the Torah from Sinai, then transmitted to Joshua, then to the elders, and then to the prophets, and then to them, the great assembly, or like the ancient text says, the adversary's great synagogue. They told the people of Israel to be patient and in justice. We're just disciples making a fence around the Torah for protection so the person could hear the word of God so they could progress. They blinded Israel by providing synagogues and copies of the scriptures with their interpretation, and now the people could go to the local synagogues. But in reality, with the mendacity of the heart of mankind, the Pharisees did this move to promote and establish a rabbinic authority and honor. They prevaricated their way to judge Israel on their own made-up civil commandments and biblical commandments of the Creator. By the time of Yeshua, the Pharisees has mixed the Torah and their oral law as one Torah. They developed the Sanhedrin and sanctified themselves as the elders, and Phariseeism was a primary religious section already rooted in daily Jewish life.